Happens.
See what?
All right. We're live. We're live. Welcome to the live stream where we do it live. And I should tell everybody where we're live. All right. We're live at 7 p.m. Hollywoke. I'm really fried today, by the way. Hot take live. I spent all day out in the sun, so you can imagine. I gotta find my own damn stream link. Let's see if I find my channel. There's my channel. Okay, there's my link. We'll copy the link address. There we go, and we'll put it right there in, so people know we're live. Hollywoke Hot Take Live, dude. Okay, we're going to be talking about a lot of things today. I'm going to start with the box office, but later, heads up, I know we're going to be talking about Jimmy Kimmel and Charlie Kirk. But let's save that for later. We'll save that for after the box office. I know that's going to come up, though. So just heads up for those of you who might be triggered by that. All right. Let's start with a recap of my week while we wait for people to get in here. I actually had a really relaxing week because I didn't do any shows this week. What the hell did I even do? I mowed the lawn. That was a big one. I don't think I mowed the lawn in a month and a half. And you might say, isn't your lawn like past your house now? No. In the summer, my lawn does not grow very high because I don't water it, because I don't care if it lives or dies. And I have never used fertilizer the entire time I've lived here. I think once. Now, the reason I don't use fertilizer, by the way, is because I don't want Joan to be in contact with fertilizer when she plays in the backyard and goes to the bathroom and whatnot. Because it is very toxic. And I know you say, well, you're not supposed to let your dog play in the fertilizer when you put it on. You got to wait. But I just don't want the chemical. I don't think the chemicals are good. I don't think putting a bunch of chemicals on your lawn is a good thing to do. But one time my father put some like weed mix killer stuff on my front lawn. I thought, well, that's okay. Joan's rarely on the front lawn. But for the most part, I don't fertilize. So because of that, I have like what I would call natural grass, meaning it's just random grass that grows there. So like the guy who owned the house before me, I assume he planted some grass at some point to start things off. But I didn't like care or feed it or weed it or anything. I just mow it. And it looks fine when it's mowed. It looks perfectly fine. It's a little out of control now on the sides. I'm struggling with my weed whacker, but that's another story. But overall, it doesn't really grow out of control in the summer. It doesn't just it just stops growing. I go like weeks without mowing it, but this time I went a really long time. There were like a couple spots that got high, and being the laziest man in the world, I took my weed whacker and I just chopped them down. And there were a couple other like odd weeds here and there. I just took them out, and then the lawn looked a little shaggy, but it looked fine. And but finally, I had last week. Yeah, that was a completely off week for me, and so I mowed, and then I did a bunch of other house-related things. And then I realized I was out of a bunch of stuff, which I hate. And then I broke my curtain rod today. So, or my shower rod, I should say. It's not a curtain rod. I've kind of fixed it, but I fixed it in the sort of way that if I touch the shower rod, it'll go right down. It'll go right down. So I have to go to Home Depot and try to buy something to replace the parts of it I broke. So that was my week. But this weekend, was the Pine Barrens Makers Fest, which I do have lots to say about. It was really good, number one. I'd like to say thank you to Patrick and his lovely wife for having me there. I didn't get to do my talk on how to hunt the Jersey Devil, but that's okay. I do like sort of like pieces of my show at the table to explain the books. And so I was sort of doing it. But I don't want to go into why it didn't happen. It mainly like a scheduling issue. But I got to send Patrick and his wife an email thanking them and then say, we'll see if we can do it next year. Or I may even go into Hamilton, and they have a business there, and do like a special event, right, just for them and their customers or something like that. Just to thank them, because it was a really great show. It was jam-packed. Now, I've been to San Diego Comic-Con. That's about the only show I've ever been to that was more packed than Pine Barrens Makers Fest. Like Saturday, I was like two people deep all the way across the table at one point, doing my shtick. And I can't sell. Oh, there's JEC. Hi, hi, hi. And I could only sell, as fast as I can. I was only one person. Shout out to the girlfriend. Hello. She came out and helped me. She was there to watch the table when I was going to do the show, but that never happened. So she just hung out and sampled the many food trucks. She was having a great time. She was basically like me. That's what I would have done if I was there for her and she was doing a show. That's where I would have been. Oh man, the food trucks were pretty awesome. But she like grazes when she eats at the food trucks. She'd go buy a taco or 3 tacos, eat one, and then here, eat these tacos. I don't want the rest of them. Then she bought a hamburger and ate like 3 bites, and then here, eat this hamburger. I don't want the rest of that either. So that was fun and delicious. Although we never could get some real boardwalk fries. Why the F can't I get boardwalk fries in South Jersey? What? I have to go all the way to Ocean City to get decent boardwalk fries? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But anyhow, that was great. And then there was a ton of artisans there. I couldn't really leave the table. It was just too busy. And then by the time it slowed down enough, I went to the bathroom on the last, today. I had to go to the restroom. And I asked one of the vendors to watch my table. By the time I got back, they were like, "Oh, you just missed 2 guys here." I was like, "Damn, this place is it's just raining money there." So I sold a ton of books. So thank you all for that. That was great, and great fans. Saw some of my older fans who were there to buy the books in the middle. That's always really cool when they buy the books in the middle, because they're like, going through the series. And someone bought like the last 4 books, so they had been going through the series. Oh, it was good. It was a good day. Good weekend. All kinds of cool Jersey Devil stuff, which I would have bought had I been able to get up and start spending my money. But it just wasn't. I had to stay at the table. I had to do stuff. So, and then it was really great. Patrick, the guy who ran the event, said he saw one of the patrons and he came over to tell me she was the happiest I've ever seen anyone at the con, at the Makers Fest. He said she was so happy just to have your book and so excited that she had talked to you. And that was really gratifying. So that was nice. I'll tell you a gross story. So there was a guy, I won't say who it is. He was an older guy, and like when I'm at the table, I'm usually sitting down, because to stand up 8 hours straight at the table in the hot sun, that's no bueno. So I'm sitting there, and I'm at an angle where I'm looking up at people, and normally that's fine, except this guy, he was an older guy, and he just had, he needed a clean house in his nostrils, let's say. He had like it looked like a giant booger and tons of hair up in his nostrils. And like, I couldn't stop looking at it. Now, when I say that, it's not like he could notice that because I'm looking right at him. And at the same time, he's talking, he's telling me some story because he was a Piney. He was telling me like a Piney story. And then there was a guy about 4 booths down across the way. He had, he was doing like chainsaw sculptures. Now, he wasn't doing them all day, but when he would do them, it would get pretty noisy because the chainsaw was going off. And he was making bears and all kinds of crazy stuff. Well, mainly he was making bears. We noticed that. He can make other stuff, but he kept making bears. And I told my girlfriend he's probably just making bears because I heard from another chainsaw guy that making a bear is the easiest thing. And they get sick of it after a while and they want to make other things, but everybody asks for a bear. So anyhow, he's making bears and the chainsaw's going off and this old guy's talking to me. He's got stuff in his nose and I can't stop looking at it and it's gross. And I'm just thinking, oh man, he really needs a clean house. He really needs a clean house. And then like, even if he does, he's going to pull out like a giant clump of hair when he does. It's going to be a mess. And that's all I could keep thinking about. And I couldn't really hear him over the chainsaw anyway. So that was the only moment it got a little weird. And there were lots of fans. There was one woman though. She wore this sweatshirt. You ever wear? Some women do this. They wear a sweatshirt, and that's like cut in the middle to kind of like show off cleavage, I guess. But she was maybe an A cup, not wearing a bra, but she had cut the shirt so low, it was like the cut was like past her boobs. Like her boobs were up here and the cut went like all the way down through the middle. And I was just like, that is a weird look. And I had to look away because my girlfriend was there and other people are there and I cannot get caught while I'm at a show. That would be awkward. So I looked away and, but I thought to myself, she should probably not be wearing that. That was a little much. A couple of young women were dressed, I don't know. I would say if I was a older relative of theirs, I'd be like, you should probably not go out like that. You're a little young to be wearing that. I don't know. It's just like some girls, like, they don't understand. They should not dress half naked sometimes. It just, yeah, that's not a good look. Anyhow, what else happened? That's about it. Sold a bunch of books. I'm a little fried, so if I'm rambling, that's why. Yeah, I didn't really get to see anything. They had a bunch of cool shirts, though. I could have replaced my whole Jersey Devils t-shirt wardrobe. That's how many cool Jersey Devil shirts had. But apparently they had a bunch of shirts with the C word on them, which I thought was weird, but I didn't see them. But my girlfriend said, oh, like his whole table, he's just got bumper stickers and t-shirts with the C word on them. I'm like, really? And I was trying to think if it was like, you know, like an Australian thing, like, hey, old C word, or if it was like some kind of weird backwards female empowerment thing, like, I'm taking back the C word. But I don't know, it was in the Pine Barrens. It seemed weird and inappropriate, but I didn't see him, so who knows. And it seemed like I was surprised because it's supposed to be like a family-friendly event, and I thought, man, that's a little harsh for a family-friendly event, have like that kind of merch. But, you know, I mean, I'm not offended by it. I just thought it was weird. And Great Hamilton, what's the name? Brewery. Snouts and Stouts were there. I did an event a few weeks ago at their brewery. I didn't really get to say hi to them either, but, oh wait, I think I did say hi to one of them. One of them came by the table. I can never get away from my table. And so that was a good deal. All right, I've done enough rambling. That was my weekend. It was awesome. Let's get in to the box office. All right. So, this is unbelievable. But the number one movie for the second week in the row, say it with me, was Demon Slayer Kitmitsu no Yaba the movie. And that's not the entire title. It also is called the Infinity Castle. Like, they made a bunch of these movies with the first part of it, and then the last part is the actual title of the, sequel. Infinity Castle. And it's made a S ton of money overseas, 450 million, but it's made 104 million here, which is pretty good. And it's the number one movie in America for 2 weeks in a row. An anime movie is the number one movie in America in theaters in 2025. That's utterly insane. 17.3 million, which isn't even a lot of money. It's in its second week, and it dropped by 75%, which is a huge drop. So it has no legs here. But you wouldn't expect it to even do well, much less have any legs, because, it's not like mainstream. This is only for anime fans. But it shows you that there are a ton of anime fans out there now. But there's still not enough to sort of sustain this audience, but kinda. I mean, it's at 17.3 million, which is the highest grossing movie in America. Not Japan, in America. It's nuts. So the movie that got embarrassed by this is the number 2 movie. It's a horror sports movie. So it's a horror movie, but it's about sports. And it's called Him. Now, I would say right out the gate, that is a bad title. That is not a good title, because it doesn't tell you anything about the movie. It doesn't sound like a horror movie title. It just kind of sits there. And it's also the name of a Powerpuff Girl villain. There's a villain called Him. And I don't think you should have called it that. I think you should have called it something else. And you can see from the picture, looks like there's just a football. Possibly some blood running out of it. I can't really see it. Not really screaming horror movie. And look at these numbers. 13.5 million domestic. The international, well, it's only registering as 362,000. It doesn't appear to have opened everywhere yet internationally. They've got a weird international release for this movie. And most of the countries are very small. So you got Austria, Netherlands, Romania, and Slovakia, and South Africa. We're still sending movies to South Africa? Hasn't South Africa virtually collapsed into a communist dystopia, and yet they still have the movie Him? Why would we do that? How many shekels are we squeezing out of South America for some of our movies? That's nuts. Sweden and Ukraine. Again, how the hell are we sending movies to the Ukraine? Why are we sending movies to the Ukraine? Don't the Ukrainians have more to worry about than to go see a sports horror movie? Sheesh. Anyhow, it hasn't opened in the UK yet. That's next week, or 2 weeks from now. And for some reason, it's going to open in Poland like at Thanksgiving, and in France halfway through December. It doesn't make any sense. What happened here? But it's not doing well, is my point. And it's not opening up in China. So I don't even know why you bothered with most of these other countries. And it's not opening in Canada, apparently. Weird. Or is Canada dumped into the domestic box office, I wonder? Anyhow, either way, doesn't look good. I mean, what happened here? I did hear some chatter on X about the movie. They said it was terrible, like unwatchable, terrible, nearing levels of unwatchableness. And it got beat by an anime movie that was in theaters last week. So that's just pathetic. I mean, I've seen some pretty pathetic box office weeks, but this is pretty sad. Number 3 is The Conjuring: Last Rites, which by all rights should have beaten the anime movie last week. And now it's dropped to 3, and it's at 12.95 million. And it's in more theaters. So, although I think this movie's doing okay. Yeah, it's at 400 million. And it only costs $55 million. Usually when they tell you the production budget, that means the movie made money, because they want you all to know it. When they don't show you the production budget, that's a sign that they didn't make any money, and they're not going to tell you the budget so they can lie about it later, if they want to. Downton Abbey drops from 3 to 5, 6.3 million in its second week, dropping 65%. This is another movie. It's not going to be strong. It's not going to have legs. It's a grand finale of a TV series, so you sort of got to be on the TV series to even want to watch it. So that's going to be the downside of a movie like this. It made 59 million so far. I don't know what the budget was, but I suspect it made money. They probably didn't advertise it too much. You know. And at the very least, they could throw it on TV and make some money back there. And they probably will. This is sort of like a hardcore fan base that'll buy the DVD or the Blu-ray or whatever. They'll want to download it. So, this will probably make its money. I can't imagine it cost too much money. I don't think there are any names in it. It does take place it is a period piece, which is a little more expensive, but it's not that expensive if you already had all the sets and the cast and everything else. Number 4 in its second week is The Long Walk. Now, it only dropped by 46%, which would seem to indicate that it has some amount of legs. It's at 6.3 million. It was 4th place last week. And I don't know. I didn't think this trailer looked good, but a lot of people wanted to see it, so maybe it does have legs. It's made 24 million though, which isn't very much, but it only cost 20 million, so it doesn't really look like it's going to make its money though. Really, it's going to have to crack 50 million. And I don't think there's any way that's happening. Next week, you might add another 3. And with the rest of the week, you might add another 5. So you're looking at 32 million. And a week after that, you might scrape by with, I don't know, 4 million. And 2 million. That's about it. So you might get close. You might get to about just squeak over 40 million, but they advertise the hell out of this thing, so that ain't going to cover the advertising cost, I don't think. Number 6, A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. Now, this has 2 A-listers in it, Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie. Near as I could tell, they spent a little bit of money on the advertising. And it premiered at number 6. 3.5 million. Oof. Oofa. It's getting terrible reviews. It's from Sony. It looked terrible. It looked dumb. The premise looked dumb. It just looked like an excuse for two characters to act. Two actors to act. It's done 8 million worldwide. I don't know, man. Is it Margot Robbie? She was also in that what's the name movie? What the hell was it called? The one with Brad Pitt about early Hollywood? Babylon. Yeah, that movie tanked. So that's pretty bad. I got to think this thing cost a decent amount of money, 45 million, and it's made 8 million. This movie's DOA. It's done. It is cooked. I mean, The Long Walk is pretty cooked. It's probably going to lose money, but not going to lose a lot of money. Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. I mean, this thing might lose what? What's it going to make? It made 3.5 million. It made 8 million worldwide. So next week, 4, 2, 1. So that's about 9 million. The money during the week, you could add another 10. So you might get, I don't know, 25, 30 million out of this thing. Yeah, that'd be pretty big loss. Pretty big flop. Maybe lose 10 million, I would say, at least. Oof. That's no bueno. Number 7 is The Senior. This is from Angel Studios. What's his face is in this? Michael Chiklis as a guy who goes back to, I guess, college or high school to play football again one last time. I guess it's college. And he's super old. I don't know. 2.7 million. I mean, if you had a big name actor in this back in the 80s, you know, like John Goodman back when he did like King Ralph, maybe you could have made this happen because people just used to go see movies back then. But now, I don't know, man. Now it's Angel Studios, so they probably didn't spend a tremendous amount of money. Storebang, didn't Gay already do that in The Best of Times? Maybe. I don't remember that movie. The Best of Times. What's the budget on this thing? No budget. Gay? Who's Gay? See who you're talking about. Robin Williams? Oh, got Robin Williams and Kurt Russell. Small town loser determines to have one more shot at the big time by winning a football game. Yeah, maybe. Who's Gay though? Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's a similar movie. Look how short Robin Williams is compared to Kurt Russell. And then in this picture, he's not short. Weird. Oh, they. Sorry. Didn't they already do that in The Best of Times? Sorry about that. I'm really fried from today, Storebag. I apologize. Yeah, it's very similar. I mean, they've done it a bunch of times, I think. I think they've done this story before. They've probably done this. I think they did it on Married with Children. Didn't they do it on Married with Children? Didn't Al Bundy replay his... I mean, he didn't really go back to high school, but didn't he, like, have to replay his final game or something in an episode? Next up, number 8, dropping from 5, is a movie that's 30 years old. It's Toy Story, back in theaters. and it's in the top 10 movies of the weekend in September, which isn't a dead time. Like September usually is okay because it's coming off the summer and there's supposed to be a bunch of blockbusters from the summer that are still carrying the movie theaters, and there's nothing. There's nothing. So they have to put a 30-year-old movie out that used to be a hit, and it made 1.4 million. It dropped in its second re-release week by 59%. But considering how old the movie is and that everybody's seen it, I mean, that's still not bad. That's better than Downton Abbey. So, next up is Sight and Sound presents Daniel Live. I don't even know what the hell this is. 1.3 million. It's a live event? Who is Daniel? Why is he live, and why do I care? Taken from his people, Daniel is exiled in the perilous kingdom of Babylon. Oh, okay. As he navigates his new life, will his trust in God remain steadfast through his every test of faith? So this must be like a play then, if it's live. Must be a religious play about Daniel. So Fathom Events clocking in at number 9 in the top 10. Also pathetic. And according to this, it's been out for over a year. Must have been, they must have bumped it up though somehow, I would imagine. This is the first time I'm seeing it on the list, so. JC, did you hear about the R&B singer David, spelled D4VD, whose songs are literally all about deleting his girlfriend, who is now accused of deleting her underage girlfriend? Been following that story. I have been following that story. I didn't have many details other than first they announced somehow that they found a body in his parked Tesla. Now, that initially didn't mean anything because like he was on tour and you had to figure, well, he was on tour, so could have been somebody murdered someone and just put it in the trunk of his Tesla somehow. But then pictures came out with him and the girl who is only, he met her when she was 13 and she was only 14 when she died. So there are pictures of them, but she might have just been a fan. That's possible. But yeah, it sounds really, really bad. There's also some internet chatter about that as well. I forget what it was. And has he been officially accused yet? JC, they towed his Tesla and the staff at the impound lot could smell the body in the trunk. Ugh, yeah, she was dismembered. Brah, he met her when she was 11. Oh, Jesus, dude. Oh, this guy's going to prison if this is, this sounds very dark. Jesus. How the hell do these guys think they could get away with something like this? I mean, the unbelievable arrogance or lack of concern is just astonishingly, I don't know how to describe it. Like, what the hell, man? And he's a rapper. Like, he wasn't that famous, I don't think, but I mean, even the lamest rapper in the world has a bunch of girls all over him. I'll tell you, those guys get a lot of girls. But Jesus, dude, 11? He met her when she was 11. Holy crap. JC, they haven't arrested him. They were saying people have seen him logged onto his Steam account playing Fortnite. Well, he's not going to be able to play Fortnite where he's going if half of what you say is pans out and he committed the deletion. Jesus, that sounds freaking horrific. That's awful. Ugh. All right. And how does someone let their kid go to a rap concert that young? Their female kid. Sorry, I'm really fried. Like, why would you let your 11-year-old, go to a rap concert? I would keep them very. I wouldn't even let my teenager go to a rap concert unless they had a chaperone. Those places are a little rough. Um, you know, if you're going to some boomer rock concert, it's going to be mostly older people, and if you're with friends, maybe. But holy cow, rap, that's a young crowd. It sometimes turns into a young angry crowd. Um, yeah, you just don't let kids go that young, I would say. JC, I listened to some of his songs. They're literally about him deleting his girlfriend. His biggest song is literally called Romantic. I'm not sure I can say that word. It's like the name of the TV show, Deletion on the Streets. JEC, they didn't tell her go. She's been reported missing for like 2+ years. He's more of an emo R&B pop singer, not really rap. Oh, I thought he was a rap guy. Missing for 2 years. Boy, her parents. I don't know. Do you think she was kidnapped? Are they saying she was kidnapped, or did she like run away from home like to follow this dude on the road and then became his like groupie, I guess? If that's true. I'm not saying it is. I'm speculating. Um so either someone kidnapped her, and or a combination of like she wanted to go on the road to follow this dude and then just ended up trapped on the road with him doing God knows what until, you know, whatever happened. But jeez, he's more of an emo, really. Why does he have that stupid name, D4VD? It looks like David. You want to say David, but it's not David. JC, no, she ran away. They've been living together in an apartment his manager was renting. Oh my God, that's it. Yeah, he's done. He's done either way. Even if he didn't delete her, he's done. He's done. That's illegal. That's got to be illegal. That's got to be super illegal. Um, so she's been missing for 2 years, living in his place. So she was 14 when she died, so that had to have started when she was 12. Yep. There's no statute of limitations that low. Or not statute of limitations, age of consent law is that low. Unless you're talking someplace in the Middle East. Holy crap. That's dark. 2 years. How does this go on for 2 years and no one notices? No one says anything. How are they? How are the cops? Ugh, Jesus. Well, he's going away. If any, I mean, either way, if it's some bizarre coincidence that she was murdered by someone else, I would say he's going away, probably for life. Jesus. That's messed up. Number 10 is weapons. 1.2 million in its 7th week. I still say weapons is pretty overrated. I wouldn't recommend it, but it had a few good moments. I don't know. I think they just like this director now. His movies do make a lot of money, but I think he needs a better script. I think a rewrite of Weapons could have been really good. I like the sum of it, but number 11 is Freakier Friday at 1.1 million. Man, this movie keeps making money too in its 7th week. Number 12, The Bad Guys 2, 700,000. Sam Rockwell's cartoon in its 8th week. Hamilton the Musical in its 3rd week, 644,000. That's going away, thank God. Apollo 13 came back into 200 theaters. 600K. JC. I mean, maybe they were S-trafficking her and the pimp did it. Multiple people had access to the Tesla. It was probably in the manager's name too. Oh yeah, he's probably done too. Oh, he's probably done. Because either way you slice it, I mean, that girl was way too young to be doing that. And I'm wondering if her parents were looking for her, or they just so checked out and they just, they were like, well, oh well. JC, Apollo 13 is so boring. I have to agree with you. I don't think I sat through the whole thing. I remember watching it. I don't remember, watching to the end. So, yeah, it's fine. I mean, I guess it's fine if you're really into that era. Back then, it was... I'm not old enough to remember that era when it happened, but I am old enough to remember the era after it when they would talk about it, and you could kind of see why everybody was into it, but even by the 70s, it was like, yeah, okay, Grandpa, calm down. They went to space. Alex Ogle is here, thank God. Evening, bigots. From a very thundery Ontario, was watching the Charlie Kirk memorial service earlier. Could it be the beginning of religious upheaval you've been concerned about, Tony? All right, heads up, we're going to start talking about Charlie Kirk and probably Jimmy Kimmel. So long as it doesn't stop Sydney Sweeney attending awards ceremonies. I don't think it'll be a religious upheaval. I think it will be a return to tradition. So I am old enough to remember, again, just the tail end of the era when people were still kind of religious. And like me and my brother, we grew up in the 70s and 80s, and we checked out of church, as soon as we were old enough to do it. But there were still a lot of people who were like, in the church. Even if they only paid it lip service, they would go. And now it's going the other way. Like, people are getting back into church, and this is, I think, a springboard, because people are always looking for answers. They're looking for directions in their lives, and they feel sort of lost. And, church is nice. It gives people a community. It gives them something to do. Alex Ogle, I recall enjoying Apollo 13, but because of the reality it was based on, not a film worth returning to. Interesting. Indie Phantom is here. Missed the box office, but nobody talking movies this weekend. There is... What you missed was a horror show, Indie Phantom, because the number 1 movie was that anime movie again. The number 2 movie was that hymn movie. And then all the way down at number 6 was A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey, starring 2 A-listers who apparently aren't going to be on the A-list much longer. So it's a mess. It's a GD mess. But yeah, let me just wrap up the box office and we'll get into Charlie Kirk and Jimmy Kimmel and the rest. After Apollo 13, the Fantastic Four, 582 in its 9th week. Please just put it out of its misery. Alex Ogle, yes, movies seem to have gone very quiet. In a way, that's a good thing. What with the S they've been shoveling. But we need good movies to pull us out of this funk. JC, if people don't have religion, they fill it with some other BS. I agree. Look what happened to all the SJWs over the last decade. Christianity tells people to get married and start families, which is needed. Indie Phantom, Jesus, the anime won again? That's insane. Yeah, I know. Um, after after that is Spinal Tap 2, the end. It certainly is the end. In its second week, dropped 77%. Paging nobody gives an F. Yeah, this ain't an 11 movie. This is a 0. I don't know what this movie cost, but I don't think it's making its money back. 2.5 million. It cost $22 million. It is done. Cooked. Stick a fork in it. Take it out of theaters. You're wasting your time with that movie, Spinal Tap. Jesus. Horrific. Caught stealing. Didn't do too well. Made about 27 million. It's just about done. Hey, I got a theory. Did John Hader get a plastic surgery and then rename himself Austin Butler? I'm just asking. Yeah, I don't know what this movie cost, but I don't think this made its money back either. Light of the World made 340K in its third week. I forget what that is. The History of Sound, second week, dropped. Oh no, went up because they've jammed it in more theaters. That's an art movie. The Roses, I don't care. 293,000. Jurassic World Rebirth, please, please let it die. 114K. Lilo and Stitch, 40K, still in theaters. Cat Video Fest, somehow still in 11 theaters. Made $12,000. Peacock premieres in one theater for $5,220, and Women in Christ, $5,028 in 15 theaters. Ooch, that doesn't sound good. Indie Phantom, yes, there needs to be a moral center and a base for society to thrive and be healthy. Caught stealing just didn't land. Yeah, more of a streaming movie. So the weekend was $72,136,622. Yeesh. Yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess. The movie industry is dying before our eyes. And it's not getting any better in the theaters, so you're not going to see me go into a theater anytime soon. All right. So we got to get into Charlie Kirk. I'm sure that's... Let's see if there's a headline in Variety. Here it is. Big, bold, beautiful journey bombs with 3.5 million. Nope. Variety's not carrying it. Let's see. Fandom Pulse, they probably wouldn't carry it because they... Let me just go right to Breitbart. Where in the heck is... Here's Breitbart. Okay, here it is. So, Charlie Kirk Memorial at Arizona Stadium. Larger than life. 100K expected to attend. The rumor was it was more like 300K. So, lots of prayer. There's Trump. Indie Phantom can't see cinemas making it much longer. Not at the rate they're going. Maybe Fathom Events can save it between the religious stuff and the live events and maybe some damn new movies. What the heck was Beautiful Journey? Well, it was Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie. I did a thing on the trailer. It looks terrible. So the premise is, and these are two A-listers, and Colin Farrell is a very good actor, and Margot Robbie is very hot. We all know this. So the premise is two strangers meet, and I don't know, they somehow end up in a car together. I think he offers her a ride or something because they're at an airport or something and she needs a ride. And then they decide they're going to drive around and sort of sightsee, and they get off the road and they find this magical door in the middle of like a meadow, and they decide they're going to go through it. And then as they go through the doors, it's the memories that they both have. So they flash back to when he was in high school, and then when she was going through something. Like, what the hell? Who the hell wants to see that? That sounds dumb. That sounds so contrived. It's like, oh, we're going to go back in the past and relive our past, everyone. And then the actors are going to act and you're going to feel things. Who the hell wants to see that? It looks dumb as hell. But that's what passes for an A-list movie now. So Colin Farrell can act. Margot Robbie can look good and try to act. She's not a bad actress. She's okay. But that they don't have anything to work with. That movie was more of a paycheck, I think. I think it may have been based on a book. Alex Ogle, bloody hell. Even my local cinema is drying up its offerings over the coming week. What's one battle after another, claptrap? So it takes place in the 80s, and it stars Leo DiCaprio as an ex-revolutionary who's been living underground, and he was in love with this girl who I think is dead because she was killed in one of their many revolutions. And but I think they have a son, and he's trying to save their son because now it's the 80s and it's past the time when they were revolutionaries, and he's just hiding out. And then I saw a clip from it that was kind of funny, but I don't know if the movie intends to be funny. But it was Benicio del Toro as his mentor, who's like the ultimate revolutionary, and the only way he could get to him is through a series of passwords and code words and, you know, intrigue. So, but he somehow manages to get to him, and then you get to see Benicio after he has a conversation and gives him advice, disappear, and it's really kind of a funny scene because he's so exacting with it, and he manages to do it like perfectly. But I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure if it's a comedy or drama or kind of both. But I don't see how the audience is going to identify with an old aging revolutionary in America. This may be a communist fever dream cooked up by somebody in Hollywood who's had way too many, Hassan Piker tweets jammed into their head. I was going to say watching him on Twitch or something, but again, I'm very fried. I'm barely keeping it together. Indie Phantom sounds like an AI version of It's a Wonderful Life. I think it would be better if it was that. Nobody cares about movie stars, as we have said. Correct. No Barbie, no movie. There you go. Indie Phantom, that's the P.T. Anderson flick, and sounds political. I can't figure out what the politics is. It just looks, I don't know, like nothing. Licorice Pizza was gay. Yeah, I just hated the title. It didn't look good. Although the lead, he looked like Chris Pratt's cousin, I thought. Alex Ogle, I watched Jewel of the Nile earlier this week. 80s schlock, but fun with it. Even if Danny DeVito ends up siding with a group of nomadic terrorists. I remember that movie. I think I went to go see it because they were, all the rage back then. It was Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner. They were like the A-listers of their time. See, Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell. You should have done one of those movies. Alex Ogle at Indie Phantom. Licorice Pizza sounds gay. Yeah, it just looked bad. Sean Penn's in it too. And who else is in it? I think Bradley Cooper's in it too. Yeah, so I'm not sure about one battle after another. It could be funny. Like, after seeing the Benicio del Toro scene, I was like, maybe this is a send up of revolutionaries and how stupid and paranoid they are. But I don't know. I kind of don't think so. Let's see. Stephen Miller, Forces of Evil made Charlie Kirk immortal. Tucker Carlson, Charlie Kirk was doing the thing that people in charge hate most, calling them to repent. I don't know about that. White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, Charlie's army of young voters helped secure President Trump's victory in 2024. RFK Jr., Charlie gave the biggest microphone to his opponents. Video, scenes from inside. JC, licorice pizza looks super self-indulgent. Yeah, there was a lot in there. I don't know. I didn't like the way it was shot. It was dark, needlessly dark. I mean, color-wise, not tone-wise. And wasn't it about an older woman who sort of befriends a younger man? I mean, he's not a teenager, but, well, he's technically a teenager, but I think he's 18 and she's like an older woman, right? Isn't that part of the deal of that movie? Weird messaging. Crowd members accept Jesus as Savior, so it gets very religious at the Charlie Kirk thing, of course. Erica Kirk now wears Charlie's blood-stained St. Michael, the Archangel pendant. Does it still have the blood on it? Roland G is here. Hello, Rolando. I said that wrong. Rolando G. I want to just call you G. Hey, G. I don't like the new Leonardo DiCaprio's new film. Looks forced. Hey, Tony. Good to see you. Glad to be here. Yeah, I'm not sure what it's trying to do. We were just talking about it. I'm not sure if it's a comedy or a drama or kind of both. You know. You know what? Now that I think about it, Licorice Pizza did have some of that going on because, like, Bradley Cooper played like a wacky character, and then Sean Penn is like, there's a scene where he's on a motorcycle, and I think he crashes, and he's trying to win the heart of that older woman who's dating the younger kid, I guess. I don't know. I didn't see it. Hillside president promises honorary degree for Charlie Kirk and scholarship for his children. Well, that's nice. Trump, we're going to celebrate the life of a great man. Thousands paid tribute across Europe. So, looks like everything went fine at the memorial service. So that's good. But let's wind it back to Fandom Pulse. Let's see. Oh, here's a movie review of Angel Studios' The Senior delivers a modern-day Rudy. That seems a little overly generous. But I didn't see the movie, so maybe it's true. Let's see. Oh, this was from during the week. Void Interactive fires community manager after he said nothing of value was lost regarding Charlie Kirk's assassination. Yeah, these people are really just canceling themselves. I mean, there's a limit to what you can say in public when you have a little bit of a name and not get completely ass blasted by the internet. Alex Ogle, I didn't like much of Trump's speech. Too self-aggrandizing and inappropriate at a memorial service. Donald Trump did something self-aggrandizing? I'm not surprised by any of the words in that sentence. Yeah, I mean, that's what he does. He does that while breathing, I think. You know, a lot of people breathe, but people have always said I'm the best breather. In and out, my lungs, the capacity, My doctors say they've never seen anything like it. I breathe every day, and it's really quite a thing. Let's see what else here. Oh, and a guy at Games Workshop got suspended after its Facebooks on Charlie Kirk. JC, Trump acted inappropriate, made it all about himself. What? I beat you. I beat you on that one, JC. I know, it's hard to believe. Rolando G. Michael Chiklis, the senior, looks good. He was on The Shield. Missed that show. I don't know if it looks good, but they have done it a bunch. I don't know. It's not my kind of movie. I don't like sports movies in general. I thought it was at least that movie, Him, the horror sports movie. I mean, it looked a little different, but then I was like, I'm not sure who this movie's for. I guess guys who are into football and horror. It's kind of a tight Venn diagram, but maybe because so many people like football. Ex-users call for boycott of advertisers showcased on Hassan Piker's Twitch streams. Well, I sincerely doubt whatever sponsors Hassan Piker has that anyone on X would ever use their product already, but I didn't know there was advertisers on Twitch. Is there? How does that work? I thought there was all donations on Twitch. No? I don't know how Twitch works. But, yeah, I mean, to me, that's fine. That's not censorship. Boycotting sponsors that you don't like, you can do that. I do it all the time. I boycotted Target. I'm thinking about going back now because I think they got rid of all their weird material. But now I'm out of the habit, so I'll get to it when I get to it. But what else did I boycott? I boycotted Exxon for the Valdez. Man, that's an old boycott. That's a chestnut. Let me dust off that. I boycotted the Exxon. I wouldn't go to Exxon stations. I had to go to one night. I was out of gas. It was the only one open. But other than that, I boycotted Exxon successfully. Ha! Where are they now? Don't see too many Exxons near me. I don't know. They probably changed their names. JC, no fair. I got to type and are borderline illiterate. Indie Phantom, good news of the week is the straw that broke the Kimmel's back. Bye-bye, Jimmy. Yes, so here's my thoughts on the Jimmy Kimmel controversy. Number one, he is such an insanely hypocritical person, in my opinion. If I was running ABC Studios, I would have fired Jimmy a long time ago, or I would have corrected him. When he did the rest in peace Wheezy bit, that's when I would have corrected him, because that was the point of no return for anybody who would have been on the other side of the political aisle for watching his show. And I've boycotted essentially television, but definitely Jimmy Kimmel. I don't think the only time I watched a Jimmy Kimmel clip, I wanted to see Christopher Lloyd and Michael J. Fox. They did their characters from Back to the Future in a bit on the show, where they show up in 2019. I think it was before the pandemic. And that was cool. That was kind of cool. But I watched for them. I didn't care what Jimmy Kimmel had to say. Other than that, I don't think I've ever seen more than like 4 minutes of an episode. So, Alex Ogle, the worst of these people getting fired is that they are stupid enough to put their job and their identity on social media. They really aren't the sharpest intellectually and worthy to fire. Well, I would say this. there are people in certain jobs that should not have radical political opinions and should not be calling for the death of anybody. Those people definitely need to be investigated and probably, if not fired, then severely reprimanded to the point that they're never going to do anything like that again. So number one would be judges and lawyers, right? Judges and lawyers should not be going on social media posting radical, political views. That's just, you can't do that because of your job. The same thing goes for most government employees. Maybe there's a few obscure exceptions, but I wouldn't. No, like teachers, cops, they shouldn't be going online posting radical political opinions. You want to go online and post a picture of a fish or your family vacation, that's one thing. You want to go online and argue politics, you're a dumbass, and you should be fired for doing it because you won't shut up about your politics, because it's going to inevitably, regardless of your political affiliation, it's going to embarrass somebody, and politically, and you just can't be engaged in, but people get caught up in it, right? They get into arguments on Facebook and whatnot, and they end up saying something stupid. So I would just say to all those people, stop doing it, especially teachers. But teachers kind of can't help themselves. They're kind of immune to being fired, which is the problem. So they feel like they can. They could go online all day. They make TikTok videos and Twitch videos, whatever. And they'll repeat the most insane Marxism imaginable. They should be fired because they teach children. And they're teaching children, hey, it's okay to, first off, have radical political views, to call for the death of people, and they're teaching them to be incredibly entitled and stupid online. So they should be fired. They shouldn't even be in the education profession, but this is what it's come to. There's a lot of people that needs to be fired there. And then after that, you got doctors and nurses. I don't think any doctor or nurse should call for the death of anyone. That's not their job at all. If they're calling for the death of people, especially based on their politics, no, I would say they need to be investigated too and probably fired. I don't want to go to the hospital and have a guy give me a litmus test on my political views. And there's been plenty of cases of that. No, they need to be fired. And drummed out of the medical profession, probably, if they've done anything. If it can be proved. There have been nurses online who have bragged that they would do something to conservatives. None of them have actually said they have, but some of that's pretty horrific too. So we should not tolerate those people one iota. They are making threats, even though they're not directed at a particular person. They are making threats. So I think in those cases, those people need to be investigated and probably fired. And there needs to be a process, and people should do that. The problem is, of course, some of the administrators are on board with this behavior, and they allow it. And or they wait until somebody complains, and then they do something. Now, if you're talking about some low-level employee, some communist barista, that's a bit of a gray area. Now, on the one hand, somebody pointed out online, they do handle food. So waiters, waitresses, barista, they are handling your food, and they could sabotage it, and that is true. But that's a pretty low bar. I mean, if they are saying things like, I'm going to get whoever, then maybe yes, you fire these people. But generally speaking, these people already don't really have any power or political power. So I would say do not go after them as a rule, unless they're extreme. Then there's this case where a woman on TikTok who said some very nasty things about Charlie Kirk in a ridiculous TikTok, singing and dancing about Charlie Kirk being dead or something. And then they tracked down her and her boyfriend. Now, her boyfriend had some sort of business, and they went to his business and bothered him. And I would say they kind of harassed him about his girlfriend's video. I think that's totally wrong. I'm not aware that that boyfriend had the same political views. Maybe he does, but he wasn't putting them on TikTok. She was, and she sounded pretty annoying. And I think he was being punished enough by being with her, quite frankly. Um, but you shouldn't go to his business. And I think the rumor is now, I don't know how true it is, that his business has been closed down or is in real trouble because now he's getting piled on. That is not a person. You need to have some sort of process. So, like, even if you're going to report, say, a doctor or a lawyer for this sort of bad behavior, they have to be reported to the proper authorities who then take some kind of action and do it, above board. You can't just, start acting like a maniac and bothering people. That's a good way to get into a fight or get who knows what could happen to you. And not for nothing, you get some low level employee fired at Walmart, some guy who just stocks shelves and then he gets fired, like, and that's the end of his life. Like, he's really hit rock bottom then and he's practically homeless. What do you think he's going to do? He's already sort of got radical political views. I don't think he's going to take it well. That might push him over the top. We don't want that either. They have no power already. So I think it's, something that, and I get it, like, if you're at Walmart and some guy starts screaming at you about his politics, well, yeah, I think you got to say something. But I think going out of your way to go after people, unless they've been threatening or said something that sounds pretty illegal, I don't know if we need to go after. I mean, everybody who said nasty things about Charlie are not to be targeted. Not everybody. It's just people who are in important positions who say something really, really crazy, and they're responsible and visible. Then maybe, if there's some sort of process. And when I say go after them, I mean there has to be a process in which, hey, you can't say this stuff. You're a responsible, officer of the court, let's say. You can't say that as an officer of the court. There's like certain things you can't be doing if you're an officer of the court. Because you're supposed to be honest and impartial. So there's limits to this. And people are already, the sad thing is people on the internet are maniacs and they pick up a cause and they quickly get out of control. So we saw that get out of control with pranks, right? So people were pranking, quote unquote, people in supermarkets. And then eventually that escalated to a guy licking containers of ice cream, opening them up, licking the top, and then putting them back. And then they caught him, and then that escalated to a guy spraying bug spray on produce, and I think he went to prison. So yeah, don't get all caught up. You can boycott things. That's peaceful. You decide, well, I'm not going to go to Target anymore, like I did. JC, tons of ads on Twitch. Yeah, there might be so many that you can't even boycott enough people, but maybe. Again, I don't think the Twitch crowd are going to boycott anything. I think they're mostly kids and they don't have any money. So, you say to some teenager, hey, boycott Twitch because Hassan Piker's on there. He's just going to say F you and watch him anyway. Alex Ogle, Kimmel was easy to fire because he was jeopardizing a merger and investment arising. Piker won't be cut out of Twitch because failing as it isn't under such financial pressure yet. Maybe. I don't know. They may not like the optics of it. Apparently the guy who runs Twitch is a billionaire, so I don't know how he would even feel the pressure. And maybe he doesn't even care if Twitch ever makes money. I mean, maybe he can afford to run the damn thing and never make money. I don't know. But yeah, Kimmel was on a show that was lower rated than Colbert's show, according to most people who follow these things. And Colbert's show cost a ton of money. And when I compare that to Jimmy's show, at least in terms of the look, I strongly suspect Jimmy's show cost more. Now, maybe that's not the case, but I'm guessing if it doesn't cost more, it was pretty close. So you're talking tens of millions of dollars for a show that got fewer ratings than Colbert. What was the point? And they just went through a merger, so it's likely the guys who bought CBS or Skydance. Well, no, I don't think Jimmy was connected to the merger. You're thinking of Colbert, right? Colbert was on the one they could fire for the merger. Jimmy is on ABC, so they're not merging on anything. They're just on ABC. But yeah, so with Colbert, maybe. But for Jimmy, yeah, there was no merger there, right? Because he's on ABC. JC, I boycotted Tim Hortons because they started asking for vax passes before the government even mandated them. Yeah, that's a reason. I would too. That would kind of piss me off. Indie Phantom, they think they're invincible and are being proved wrong. Tim Hortons a nightmare now. Total suck. That's a shame because I just had one built near me a couple of years ago. And my friend who's Canadian, he's from Montreal. Oh, he was so jealous. He's like, oh man, you got a Tim Hortons down the street from you. It's like one of the few ones in New Jersey. It's slightly better than Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' Donuts is really bad though, in my opinion. The donuts I can't eat the donuts at Dunkin' Donuts. There's something very wrong with those donuts, in my opinion. I can't eat them. I literally got, the last couple of times I just went for it and ate a donut from Dunkin' Donuts, I felt like I was going to die. The ones at Tim Horton were okay. They still tasted a little artificial, but then when you go to Krispy Kreme, you're like, this is what a donut should taste like. I eat donuts at Krispy Kreme every once in a while, obviously. And let me tell you something. I feel good. I feel like $1 million when I eat one of their glazed vanilla donuts. Oh, it is delicious, especially when it's warm. You don't feel like you ate something horrible. You feel like you ate something good. Even though it's full of sugar, it's not why it tastes good. Like it has actual taste. Like they made it for you. It tastes homemade. Even though it's probably not. I think because it's warm. JC, oh my God. What if the guy with the girlfriend with a D was just pranking Charlie? I think the Twitch crowd is mostly bots. Oh, that's a factor too. Alex Ogle, movie pitch radical. Jamie Lee Curtis plays a Hollywood actress raising children and indoctrinating them to be trans, and is filled with hatred for anyone accusing her of being out of touch. Wait, what? What do you mean that's not a movie pitch? When did she stop being the hottie from Trading Places? A long time ago. But I will say this. For Jamie Lee Curtis, she was very upset. She was giving an interview and said nice things about Charlie. She said it was terrible, and she said she disagreed with Charlie, but it was horrible what happened. So at least she had a human reaction to it. JEC. I mean, eating vomit off a gas station floor is better than Dunkin's. Perhaps. I wouldn't know. I'll take your word for it. But yeah, it's perfectly viable, and it doesn't violate anything to boycott advertisers if you want to do it. In the case of Jimmy, what people are upset by is this. And there is a legit thing here. So let me go through it. Trump said something, and then Brendan Carr, the chairman of the FCC, and Trump to some extent, both sort of implied, well, hey, they got a license, and there's certain rules that ABC has to live up to keep that license, because they essentially rent the public airwaves that the government regulates. And one could interpret what Jimmy said as being not in the best interest of the public. And that's sort of the standard. The thing is, I don't think anyone's done that, number one. Number two, the FCC shouldn't be regulating content, in my opinion. Their only function should be to regulate the frequency by which television is broadcast. That should be their only function. They, of course, have stepped over that line many, many times in the past. And thirdly, it sets a bad precedent for the future, because now you could have, for instance, a president like, I don't know, the next Joe Biden, only not senile, or Gavin Newsom, who says, hey, you know what? I don't think Greg Gutfeld making fun of me every night is in the best interest of the public. And it sets a bad precedent. However, much like the Democrats have done many times in the past, there is a plausible deniability with this situation. So you could say Trump told the FCC to intimidate ABC, but that's not technically true. Technically, all he said was, hey, you should probably lose your license. He didn't say they were going to lose their license or that he would take it somehow. He said, you probably should lose your license, or some words to those effect. And Brendan Card said something similar. That made the broadcasters nervous enough that they insisted Jimmy do something about this, is my understanding of the situation. Now, Senator Ted Cruz, sort of rightly points out, well, that sounds like mafia tactics. To which I say, well, yeah, but welcome to Washington, D.C. I don't want that either, but unfortunately, the Democrats have been playing that game for so long, and now here you have a Republican doing it. And the Democrats have trashed their credibility. Congress has mostly trashed their credibility. None of them have any, juice to turn around and say, hey, that's an impeachable offense, or should be. Number one, the Democrats don't have the votes. And number two, they don't have, the public doesn't really want to support Jimmy Kimmel. Most of them, anyway. There's a handful of people who are like screaming about it because they conflate it as a First Amendment issue. But it's not really a First Amendment issue because he's not jailing Jimmy Kimmel. He's playing games with the license. You could say it's a regulation issue, but the problem is the government's regulating everything. And when the government doesn't like you and they regulate something, well, you get effed. And this has been going on for a long time. It's just that Trump's team is smart enough to dig down and find those, buttons to push. Whereas in the past, Republicans never used to do that because they were worried that they were only in power so long before the Democrats would steamroll them. Therefore, they didn't want to get steamrolled as quickly, so they would sort of go along with the liberal consensus on things. But now that's changing. Trump gave the GOP a spine, so now they're making arguments, and now those arguments mean, hey, we're not technically jailing Jimmy Kimmel, so therefore, maybe we'll take your license away. Now, do I agree with all that? Again, if I ran ABC, I would have already called Jimmy Kimmel in the office and say, hey, moron, you've alienated half the country for a show where everybody should be watching you. If you do it again, I'm going to fire you. And then when he said, rest in peace, Wheezy, I would have said, you've breached your contract because you've alienated your audience and you've cost me a lot of money. Out the door you go. But would that have been realistic at the time? I don't know. Alex Ogle, all right, what about a movie documentary about the Wachowski brothers, but set in an alternate universe where they become trans? What do you mean that's not an alternate universe? What's happened to the world? I feel like Rip Van Winkle declaring fealty to the king, which was based. Alex Ogle, Tony doesn't want mafia tactics. Are you freaking okay, Tony? No, Joycey got something wrong with the water. Indie Phantom, there are no downside to the Kimmel cancellation. Please, though, get the View gone. Alex Ogle, second. Yeah, the View, you'll notice, has gotten very quiet on the Jimmy Kimmel issue. They've probably been told by their producers, if you open your mouth, we're going to get S-canned, and we don't want that. Indie Phantom, at Alex, I think we've heard enough from them. We get it. Yeah, I mean, like, I think Disney and ABC must be losing money at some point on some of these shows. I think it's clear they're probably losing money on Jimmy Kimmel's show. It's probably too expensive for too little return. Now, The View's a different story. It's on in the morning, which means mostly women watch it because mostly men are at work. And the ones that, there's still a lot of stay-at-home moms, and they tend to watch daytime TV more than men because more men work, even now. So a lot of women watch The View. I don't know why. I think it's completely brain dead. But they do. They also watch Good Morning America and other shows too, and soap operas. But yeah, The View still has pretty okay ratings from my understanding. So, I mean, going after The View is probably not in the best interest of the Trump administration. However, if they reenact the Charlie Kirk Act, which would be the old rule that Obama killed, he repealed an act that made it illegal for you to essentially promote political parties and political candidates on your TV show without giving equal time to someone else. Basically. So, in other words, if you have an hour-long episode of The View where all they do is bash Trump, then the idea is you got to have an hour show where, I don't know, you bash the other guy or you praise Trump or whatever. You got to have more balance in politics at any rate. And they're reinstituting that law with Charlie Kirk's. They're going to call it the Charlie Kirk Act now. So that could help, because then The View won't talk politics. And then it'll get boring for the women who watch it. And then the ratings will go down. And the reason I say that is because one of the reasons The View doesn't have a problem with ratings is because they are generating rage bait. So like when you say something outrageous on X and you get a bunch of retweets because you've been outrageous, not because you said anything particularly profound or interesting. You just, called somebody out or said something really awful. Alex Ogle, American women should watch the Little Joan unicycling and doggy ethnic jokes Christmas spectacular. In fact, it's time for that now. I gotta go to the bathroom. All right, Joan, you're up. much better. Whew. Man, it stinks in here. All right, Joan. What did you do this time? Turn on a fan. Get some airflow. Whew. JC, what's your favorite D4VD song, Joan? Alex Ogle, holy moly, she juggled those knives on that tightrope by cooking some gabagool. JC, that the one where he sings about deleting his girlfriend? Yes, that's that one's all right. Alex Ogle, no, Joan, I don't think all DC needs to get whacked. Oh boy, Joan, you stink. You stink, Joan. Smells like the inside of a sock in here. It's Joan's breath. Joan's breath is awful. I feed her, sometimes I feed her tuna fish, and her breath smells like fish today, but I haven't fed her tuna fish in like a week. So I don't know how that happened. You're rotten inside, Joan. Rotten. Anyhow, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah. So, the big takeaway from all this is it's not censorship. When the government censors you, it's censorship. When a private company decides, we don't want you on the air anymore, them's the breaks. The only question is, did Trump go too far? A question you'll never get the answer to because, number one, there's no threat of impeachment anymore. And number two, Congress isn't worth a damn. Even if they tried to go after Trump, it wouldn't succeed because impeachment is a political process. And it's not worth trying to impeach him anyway. Even if you tried to impeach him now, it would be mostly ceremonial because it would take forever and Trump would fight them tooth and nail and it wouldn't work. And by that time, he'd be out of office. Alex Ogle, little Joan may be rotten on the inside, but she's adorable on the outside. And isn't that the most important thing, Joan? She knows we're talking about her. So, as far as Jimmy Kimmel goes, I don't feel bad for him because he's such an insane hypocrite. It's not that he's going on the air night after night because he strongly feels one way about the government. I say he goes on the air night after night saying the things he thinks other people think are popular. That's why I think he says the things he says on his show. That's why I think he said, rest in peace, Wheezy. Because he thought most people in the United States, the sane people, would agree with him. And the majority of the people, probably at the time when he said it, did to some degree or another. But looking in the rearview mirror, that was super short-sighted, super mean, and now he's not in the majority. And if you want to live by the sword, you die by the sword. So if you're going to live by mob justice, guess what? It's going to eventually come back to bite you in the A. Now, a lot of people online are talking about how do we fight back against the left if they're going to get violent. Well, we have this stuff called police and the FBI still, and all sorts of law enforcement. Oh, you got to turn those on and turn them on to these leftist A-hats. They're not supposed to be stalking people and harassing people and doxing people and deleting people. You're not supposed to do that. That's all illegal. It's highly illegal. And now you have the Trump administration. They're going after them. They're going after Antifa. They'll be adding a bunch of other crazy leftist groups to their list to go after and declaring them terrorist groups because they are. They're openly communist, especially that group that was associated with the Kirk assassination. They're extremely communist. So it's time to go after them. And if they're violent and hateful, the guys you want confronting them are cops, not regular people. and they're going to be driven underground, or they're going to give it up. A lot of them will just give up. A lot of them will say, hey, I don't want to go to jail. It's fine to say this stuff in a communist bookstore or in our little commie corner on Reddit, but now they're actually coming after us. So, whoop, I'm out, and they'll just disappear. A handful of them will find religion because they'll realize, hey, wait a minute. If I get involved with the religious people, I can make my way up the chain there, and then I could get some power that way, and I can manipulate people through the hierarchy of the church. That's going to take a while before they get there, but it'll start happening. Indie Phantom, I see Trump is putting the pressure on Bondi. Need to set examples. Yeah, that's it too. And I kind of don't mind Trump doing it because, see, Trump knows when to stop. That's the good part. In the short term, it's fine because Trump is the sort of guy, he just uses the tool that's there. And he'll kneecap Jimmy Kimmel, or he'll put the pressure on to make those events sort of go his way. But he won't take it too far. Taking it too far would be to keep doing it. And you'll notice this has been part of Trump's strategy since he started running. So he had the madman strategy, right? So the madman strategy is you don't know what the hell your opponent's going to do. You don't know if he's one day he's going to bomb you, or the next day he's going to have you arrested, or the next day he's going to sanction you, or whatever, right? So this is the madman strategy that was employed by Trump, and he said he was going to employ it, and he did. Trump threatens people every day, mostly other countries. So he can't directly threaten people in the United States except through, subtlety. Oh, maybe ABC needs its license revoked. And that kind of stuff he knows how to use. Now, if ABC had cojones and Disney had cojones, they would have saw through that and said, oh, okay, you do that and we'll take you to court. And Trump probably would have let it go. And maybe Brendan Carr would have some sort of investigation, but you know how long those investigations take? A long time. They would have been investigating Disney for years. Trump would be out of office and back in Mar-a-Lago before they ever came close to ending that. And who knows, the next president could have said, oh, this is a waste of money, stop doing it. So they could have called this bluff, but they didn't. And more importantly, the broadcasters didn't, because they're smaller guys and they don't have all the money that Bob Iger has and all the power. So they just were like, oh, we're freaking out. Maybe Trump knew that would happen, and that's why he did it. If they didn't, he would have just let it go. I don't know. But Trump just threatened Afghanistan for the umpteenth time. He said, oh yeah, we want that air base back, that Bagram air base. Yeah, we want it back. Oh, you don't want to give it back? Oh, well, maybe something terrible will happen to your country. I mean, he already said that this week, the same week. What's going to happen? I don't think we're going to reinvade Afghanistan, but he might throw some sanctions their way. It might be the kind of thing that Trump saw a weakness in the Afghanis. Like maybe they're getting all their food from, let's say, I don't know, Portugal. And Trump's like, oh, Portugal? Well, we could step on Portugal all day long. Tell Portugal we want them to cut off the Afghanistan people, the Afghanis, if they don't play ball with us. And a guy from Portugal who runs Portugal says, okay, whatever you say. And then Trump goes to the Afghanis, hey, we want the Bagram air base back or something terrible is going to happen to you. And the Afghanis don't know what's coming, and they just go, what? Screw you, Trump. We're not giving you this base back. And then, boom, the next day, Portugal lays the hammer down, and they never see it coming. And now they got food shortages all over their country and riots breaking out. And who knows what'll happen. I mean, it's not like the Afghanis have a super, super stable country. Who knows what would happen. Maybe Trump just wants to destabilize it a little bit. Who knows? There's all sorts of 4D chess going on here. Or maybe he just made a play for Bagram Air Base, and he doesn't expect to get it, but he said, let's see if they blink. Maybe he just wants permission to use the air base again. I don't know. It's like when Trump said, we're going to buy Greenland. Have we bought Greenland? No. We're kind of making some moves in that direction to investment, and we're probably going to get it out of the hands of the Danes, but we're probably not going to buy it. Same thing with making Canada a 51st state. Is that going to happen? Probably not. But maybe that wasn't the purpose. Maybe the purpose was to just shake up Carney and his idiots and see what they would do. Who knows? So, Disney blinked. Oh well. Alex Ogle. All right. My last two pitches didn't get off the ground. How about a comedy drama where George Lucas has sold Star Wars and the company that buys it hands the franchise to the woman who used to bring Steven Spielberg his coffee? What? Really? That touches upon something. It reminds me, I just watched one of Carl Benjamin's videos, and he was making an interesting point about how liberals perceive reality. Now, it was a bit general, and I don't totally agree with the take, but basically what he said is you can't negotiate with people who can't describe what a woman is, right? Because they're living in a different reality than you. So, what, Joan? You want to get down? All right. All right, Joan. Say hi to people. So they're living in a different reality than you are. And because of that, you can't really negotiate with them because they don't know what a woman is, and they have a different version of the truth and things like that. And I agree with that, some of that. However, I think the people who support liberals, in this case the Democrats in the United States, most of them aren't aware that their elites, to a large extent, are ideologically captured by people who, for instance, can't define what a woman is, or want transgender people to be in women's sports. They just don't believe, a lot of it they don't believe is happening. I mean, I've talked to a few of my relatives, they're older, and I tell them this stuff is happening, and they go, oh, I'm sure it's probably happening, but it's probably not a real problem. Like, they're not interested in the ideological argument at all. They're just interested in, well, number one, they don't like Trump, and number two, they think the Democrats are basically the same, even though they're completely out of their minds these days. They haven't really looked at their rank and file and their platform and the people who are actually running things. They think, no. When the DNC tells me that you're a bunch of racists and you're a bunch of transphobes and hate gay people, that must be the problem. The problem is not that they've adopted an insane policy where men play in women's sports. That's not the problem. That's a small problem. It only happened once or twice, probably. I haven't really been following it. So, yeah, the real problem is if the bigots just would stop being bigots, then that would all go away. That's kind of the attitude of most Democrats, I feel now. At least the ones that are left. Right, Joan? All right. You go stake up another part of the office. Alex Ogle. Canada doesn't need to be the 51st state. Only the western provinces that actually have money. Well, would love to invite you in. But I don't think that's going to happen either. First, you would have to secede from Canada, and then you would have to become a U.S. territory and then go through a process to become a state. You might end up being the northern Puerto Rico for the rest of eternity. Indie Phantom, you must be the life of the party at family get-togethers, Tony. Well, generally, see, I'm the quiet one, generally, when it comes to this stuff now. One of my relatives, I won't say which one, but he loves to agitate. So he's he leans more conservative, and he loves to push people's buttons just to get a rise out of them. But even that has lost its sheen for him, and some of the arguments have gotten too personal, that we just don't talk that about politics when we get to family together. It gets Indie Phantom. Joan is the talker. It gets too personal. So mostly we don't talk about that stuff. But once in a while he's tempted and he pokes the bear. I generally don't anymore. It's no fun. It just gets everybody heated, and nobody... You can't convince people is part of the problem. They have to convince themselves. So they have to go through a process which they give themselves permission to change their minds, realize they're wrong, realize they've been fooled, or realize, oh, I'm not really a Democrat. I was a Republican all along, or something. JC, when we've been dealing with Quebec, trying to split off for generations now. We got sick of it and made it basically impossible for a province to leave. Oh, no. Well, there you go. I don't know. Why does Quebec get together with the Western provinces and say, hey, we would all split? But I really think that might even be worse, because, I mean, a lot of people here keep talking about splitting up the country, and they're utterly insane. Because that would just secede California completely to China. China would take it over within months. Within months, the whole West Coast would be full of Chinese soldiers and agents, and it would be a mess. We'd basically be fighting the Chinese in multiple fronts at that point. So, the thing to do is to use law enforcement against these people. They're breaking the law. A lot of them are. And not get worried when they say, oh, you're a bunch of fascists. No, this is just the law. You're not allowed to dox people. Hassan Piker's done some stuff I can't believe hasn't gotten him thrown off the internet. I can't believe it hasn't gotten him sued. He's definitely made, I think, threats. I think I would interpret some of the things he said as threats. He's definitely said things that I think are incitement. And one time he waved around a gun. Like, a lot of those things are very much against the TOS and Twitch, and probably some of it's illegal. JEC, Western provinces don't want anything to do with French either. Well, I just mean they could join forces to leave, maybe. But I don't really know your system. Your system sounds pretty messed up. I think if Canadians and or the UK get the government they want, i.e. a non-leftist government, the first thing they should do after stripping out all the Marxism from their system is to institute an America-style government and system so it's much harder to infiltrate. Because as bad as things are here or got here, we still held on through the Joe Biden years. Alex Ogle, the Western provinces don't want Quebec as a hanger-on. Quebec uses the equalization payments to rinse Alberta to pay for their French socialism. Oh, dear God. That's a shame. See, that's what kind of California does to us, but they can only do it so much. And now that you have Trump in, they can't do it at all unless he allows it. So the taxes we pay in the United States, it kind of goes like this. So, for instance, you have, let's say, town governments, right? You live in some town in New Jersey. Well, they have a budget, and there's certain things in their budget. And, most of those things, most towns will pay for, or they'll raise taxes a little bit or whatever. And that works out fine. But if they run out of money and they need more, they go up the chain to, let's say, the county. and they say, oh, we were like a couple $1,000s short this year because, I don't know, we needed a new telephone pole or whatever the hell they needed, a stop sign. And then the county says, oh, well, we'll make up the difference because you're a town in our county and we have to do that. And we have to have something like a stop sign, let's say. Indie Phantom, problem is most Canadians are leftards. I'm sorry to hear that. Don the Second is here. What's up, chat? Rip. Oh, R.I.P. the Kirkster. Yes. Yes, we talked a little bit about him before. So then the county, they do their thing. And then maybe there's, I don't know, a short for schools, right? And they need some extra money. And so the county goes up the chain to the state. Say, oh, we don't have enough money for the school. So then the state ponies up because they have to. Because if you short your budget, right? Let's say you have $2,000, you're $2,000 short. If you say it's a pet project and you don't have the extra $2,000 for it, you just can't do your pet project. But if it's something that by law the town needs, then the county will have to pay for it, like a stop sign. And it's the same thing for the county. If the county has to upgrade a school and they don't have the money, by law, they're going to have to go to the state, and the state's going to have to pay for it. Well, the state does the same thing. By law, there's certain things the states have to have, including schools. Usually it's schools. So, for instance, every year, the Pennsylvania government can't, or the Philadelphia government can't pay for its schools. Like every year. Every year they have this huge budget with millions and millions of dollars, but somehow they never have enough money for schools. Why? Because if they don't have enough money for, say, I don't know, a program that gives free donuts to the city hall workers, they'll just cut it. But no, they blow all that money. The only money that they make sure the shortfall happens in the schools because they know the state has to pay for that. And then if the state can't pay for it, they go to the federal government and they say, well, we don't have enough money for schools. And the government goes, well, you have to have enough money for schools. Here's a bunch of money for your schools. Don't let that happen again. And then where does the federal government get its money? Oh, yeah, we all pay that. So that's how California gets a bunch of their money. However, you got a guy in charge who's trying to change that. And I say, cut off California. And they'll find the money. They'll subtly cut a bunch of programs. Alex Ogle. In good news, Carney is appalling in Parliament. I would say at the dispatch box, but that bit of Parliament isn't copied over here. The opposition should be able to run things around him. Oh, I guess that's good. If you have a solid opposition. So really, what's going on in America is, for the first time, the GOP actually has a spine, and the Democrats are falling apart because they've been in power so long, they're corrupt and useless, and they're entitled, and things are falling apart for them. So what they need to do is start acknowledging reality, acting on principle, and working with their co-workers across the aisle. Instead, they want to hold their ground and try to blackmail the GOP and intimidate them, as they've done in the past. That's not going to work anymore. Until they acknowledge that and move on and jettison all their socialists, the Democratic Party is doomed. I think it's likely to dissolve at some point, and then a new party will emerge. It might be a socialist party, at least temporarily, which isn't going to sit well with a whole lot more people. Don the Second, why is life this stupid? Well, it's a long story. But basically, it has to do with two things. Number one, people think politics is boring. And they don't want to participate in it. And I don't blame him because it is pretty boring. So when somebody writes a policy that nobody cares about, and then they write in a clause which, I don't know, gives their brother-in-law $2 million for a no-bid contract to fix some problem that sort of existed, but really it's just an excuse to give your brother-in-law $2 billion, nobody cares because $2 million is not a big budget and not a big amount of money in even a state budget these days. So it kind of just disappears for a while, and then people get rich and they go, oh, that was pretty good. Let's do it again, but this time let's do $6 million. And then it just keeps going on from there. What Trump did when he came into office is he took D.C. and he shook it. And D.C. is so corrupt and full of so many corrupt things, a bunch of it just fell out of the box and was exposed simply by Trump just doing things differently. And that's what pissed everybody off. It's not that they care that he does things. They care because all their cool corruption that they were getting money for is falling apart. And some of them are losing millions and millions of dollars. So they don't like that. So they're super corrupt. The other reason is, unfortunately, the Chinese communists and a lot of other countries, they can't beat the United States through military or financial means. So their alternative is to completely corrupt our politicians and open society to the point at which we collapse from within. So they love to foment communist insurrection here. That would be a good idea because, you know, you have people calling for a national divorce. You have people calling, unfortunately, for violence, which I don't agree with. You have people calling for all sorts of crazy things. All that stuff divides us. And some people are too stupid to see that, and they react to it. They don't understand they should step outside of it and look at the bigger picture, because all they care about, hey, that guy's annoying me, and I don't want to be annoyed. Therefore, you know, I'm going to react. People are very reactive. Alex Ogle. Alien Earth. I very much enjoyed Critical Drinker's review and him correcting his prior position on the series. I'm just glad I don't have any streaming subscriptions anymore. Don the Second. Solution. Become a corrupt politician. Well, that's one solution. You'll at least be rich until they catch you. Remember what happened to Bob Menendez, our senator? He's in jail. And his wife's in jail, too. Mr. Goldbars isn't too happy anymore. Circling back to the Critical Drinker. Yeah, I saw that review, and I was kind of shocked he liked the show. So much so, I was like, I don't know if I should watch the Critical Drinker anymore. That's how shocked I was. I was like, this show looks like total A. And it turned out it went right down the tubes. So now he hates it. But you can be fooled sometimes. I've been fooled by some of the trailers. Some of the trailers look really good, and then the movie's like total nothing. The opposite is rarely true, though. Once in a while, there's a bad trailer, and it's a really good movie, but that's rare. This movie didn't look good. Angel Studios reveals first trailer for I Was a Stranger. I can't tell what it's supposed to be, really. It feels like it's supposed to be a pro-immigration movie. But that doesn't seem like it's right from Angel Studios, because I guess what they're showing is the journey of migrants and how dangerous it is, and that really they shouldn't come because it's very dangerous, but I'm not sure. Here's more actresses talking about Charlie Kirk. I don't know why Amanda Seyfried had to say anything on this. Like, why do you even care? You didn't know Charlie Kirk, obviously. Why not just say nothing? Why not just say nothing? Or say the obvious thing. Oh, somebody was shot? Oh, that's terrible. Like, that's the least thing you could say as a human being. Just say, oh, that's terrible. I don't like that. That's it. You don't have to comment on the guy's politics. Oh, it turns out he's a bad guy. Oh, well, then maybe it's not so bad, I guess. Like, what? Just shut up. Don't say anything. You're an actress. Say, I'm in a new movie. You could say that. Nobody will care if you say, well, I'm in a new movie. Or you could say, somebody was shot. Oh, that's terrible. By the way, I'm in a new movie. Maybe people could forget their troubles. No, you probably shouldn't say it like that. That wasn't a good take. Let me try it again. Oh, somebody was shot? Oh, that's terrible. I don't like violence. Anyhow, moving on. I'm in a new movie. There, that was better. Here's another one. The She-Hulk actress, Tatiana Maslany, who is, I'll remind you, is a good actress. She was in Orphan Black. It's a very good show. But for some reason, she thinks it's a good idea to say that you should boycott Disney. Her employer, or one of her employers, I should say, because of Jimmy Kimmel. She's actually openly encouraging people to boycott her employer. Now, I think if I were Disney, I would fire her immediately. Like, immediately. Like, there wouldn't even be a talk about it. I would say, she's fired. Get her off the set. Buy her out. Whatever you have to do. I mean, there could be something in her contract that she can't say things like this. But I don't know. Maybe not. If there was, I'd sue her for breach of contract. I'd call up her agent and say, your client is telling people to boycott my company. I pay her money. So we're going to sue you for breach of contract because you violated your behavior clause or whatever clause it is. That's what I would do. Now, he'd have a heart attack and say, no. Let me talk to her. Let me talk to her. Then he would go back to her and she'd probably turn around and go, don't boycott Disney in an attempt to keep her job. Or maybe not. I don't know. People are pretty crazy these days. But either way, the matter would be over. And I would kick her right out of the MCU, right out of the stupid Doomsday movie. I don't think you need her at all. I think everybody's already forgotten about her show. Why? Why not recast her? Why not say, no, we're going to recast her and be done? Excuse me. Movie pitch. Silence of the Glams. Amanda Seyfried, in a bikini, doesn't say anything. Anytime she has to speak, she is sprayed with water. That sounds like a great movie, because Amanda Seyfried is still pretty hot. I think I determined she was like 40. I think she's pretty good. Let's see if there's a bikini shot of her somewhere. And we could forget her terrible, terrible take for a moment and just admire bikini. There we go. There's got to be a bikini shot of her somewhere. There you go. That's all right. This is her on vacation, I guess. That's a pretty good shot. I think these are older pictures, but pretty good. Yeah, she's hot. I think she's still... Oh, I can't click that one. That's adult. That's for R-rated show. I can't do an R-rated show. Are you crazy? So, yeah. Anyhow, moving on. She-Hulk. You should just be quiet. You really should. Just collect your paycheck and play the She-Hulk. And hope that the Russo brothers give your character a reason to exist so you can keep playing her. I don't think they will. Alex Ogle. Arg, my eyes. Tony head superimposed on Amanda Seyfried's body in a bikini. I retract my movie pitch. Oh my God. Is that what happened? Oh man, I'm sorry. I forgot. My head's floating around there. Pedro Pascal claims TV stations canceling Jimmy Kimmel is what fascism looked like. No. In a fascist dictatorship, you would say that and be immediately arrested and jailed. If you're lucky. Possibly come to harm. That's what fascists do. Fascists don't tolerate any of this. And people like you under a fascist regime praise the leader. Because, again, it's really what actors do in Hollywood. They praise whatever they think is popular or will get them the most money, in my opinion. Right now, I think they still are under the impression, after all this time... Sorry, I'm very phlegmy. They are still under the impression that it's cool to say that Donald Trump is a fascist and that we live under a fascist dictatorship and blah, blah, blah. I'm sure their agents and their management haven't given them much reason to think otherwise, unfortunately. If I was his agent, I would tell him, don't make any more political takes. You don't know what you're talking about. And you're really pissing people off. And you're hurting my ability to get you work. And you will make less money. And I will make less money. And eventually I'll drop you as a client. But nobody in Hollywood talks that way. No. They do not. All right. Yeah, so A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey bombs. Even Variety admits it. Who's crying? Not Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend, but most everyone else during the Who's Hollywood Bowl farewell shows concert. Are they crying because Pete Townsend is practically deaf and Roger Daltrey's going blind and they're staggering around the stage playing poorly? I can't believe Roger Daltrey's falling apart. He was always in great shape. But I think he's in his 80s now, so yeah, it's long overdue. These guys should have retired. I used to love The Who. I used to listen to The Who all the time. Jimmy Kimmel and Disney are working to reach a compromise to bring his show back. So imagine what this compromise might be. There really is no compromise. Either Jimmy apologizes and admits he mischaracterized the situation, I'll say, and or he ain't coming back. If anything, he should come out and say, I really messed up. And I've looked at Charlie Kirk's videos and I realized, yeah, he was just a regular guy and, you know, he was a religious guy and he said things maybe I disagreed with it and blah, 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 but he should never been harmed. And I don't know. He really needs to do a song and dance. I don't think he wants to. And I think ABC wants to get rid of him anyway. So, adios. Christopher Nolan elected president of the DGA, the Directors Guild of America. I didn't even know he was running. Seems weird, though, that he would be the president. I mean, he's got a big career. Seems like he wouldn't have the time, but maybe he pawns that off on other people and then he just comes in and makes the decisions. Maybe like his team does the real work at the DGA and he just sort of comes in and go, oh, okay, yeah, that sounds good. I could see myself doing that. Right? If I became super famous, I don't know, I became the head of the Writers Guild or something, but I don't really have time for it. But they say, oh, no, you gotta be the president. We need you. We need your face there. I'm like, yeah, but I don't really want to do it. And they're like, no, you just have to show up at the meetings and then just approve what we do. Oh, okay. And then I just show up and go, okay, what did you guys talk about? Well, this. And I just be like, I'm not totally sure what that means. So trust us, it's good. Okay. Man, sorry, I'm so phlegmy. Angelina Jolie says she loves but doesn't recognize her home country of the USA. Okay? Anything that divides or limits personal freedoms is very dangerous. Anything? Well, what divides personal freedoms? I don't understand what you mean that. But limits on personal freedoms? There are limits on personal freedoms everywhere you look. I can't drive super fast in the Pines, by the way, because I got a ticket the other day. That's limiting my personal freedom. Angelina, can you believe a statey gave me a ticket and a 55 for doing 67? I mean, he gave me the no point ticket, but come on. 67, really? Who gives a ticket for that speed? No one. He was a young guy. I didn't have my card. You know, the card you flash or you get off on any ticket. I didn't have that card anymore. My friend who was a cop, he's not a cop anymore. He's retired, so I don't have one of those cards. I used to have cards. I had old cards somewhere, but I think I lost them. But yeah, that's limiting your personal freedom, Angelina. There has to be some limits on personal freedom. The hell are you talking about? Don the Second, celebrities are dumb. That's wacky as F. Yeah. But that's where they live, right? Like celebrities, their number one thing is to be good looking. That's number one. And hopefully be mildly interesting. But like they're so overanalyzed, and they weren't very deep to begin with because they spend most of their time exercising and trying to look good. There's not enough to them. So eventually it just gets all drawn out of them, especially now with the internet and podcast, right? You scratch a celebrity after about, just below the surface, there's nothing. There's nothing. They can't talk on their own for very long. They're good at talking, about the process of acting. Like a few of them, they'll talk about that all day long because that's what they're interested in. But after that, and most of these guys don't read. They just don't read. They're not very intelligent. Ricky Gervais was 100% right in his Golden Globe speech. They should just get up, collect their little award, thank their agent and God, and then get off the stage. That's all they should do. Because most of them didn't even finish high school. And God bless them. A lot of them, they're hustlers, man. They know how to hustle. But once they made the money, that skill is useless to them. Angelina Jolie doesn't even need to hustle. She was already in a famous family. She just needed to be good looking. And she was. And now she still looks pretty good, but let's see how good she looks now. Oops, sorry. That's a pretty good one of Amanda. I mean, she still looks good. Don the Second, if I shared my unfiltered views on reality, I probably would be banned from social media and societal shut out. LOL. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's another thing people do too. They share way too much on the internet. Like, there's just a bunch of things I cannot share with you. I don't mention how much money I make, for instance. I don't tell you my girlfriend's name. Don the Second. Nice. Yeah, she still looks great. Still looks good. But that's her job, to look good. Shouldn't keep trying to do stuff after that, like talk. Should say nice things. That's what celebrities used to do. They were frustrated because, oh, I'm more than just a pretty face. Well, not really. Not really. That's not why you're here. We weren't interested in your thoughts. Like writers, we have thoughts. When you're a writer, you spend a lot of time thinking and reading. That's why you get a writer on, you finally talk to him, he won't shut the hell up. You back in the day when these late night shows would have a writer on, which was rare. Oh my God. Blah, 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 blah. Because we have a lot to say. And sometimes too much to say. Case in point, Stephen King. Stephen King. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Too much. Don the Second. Dude, FR. Talking about woke comics is enough. Yeah. Let's see. Having a Don the Second. Having a self-aware conscience is a curse. It's true. All right, so that's enough for variety. Over at Bounding in the Comics. Nothing really here. Dave Bautista isn't hearing much about James Gunn's DCU plans after playing Peacemaker, and then Bane never materialized. Yeah, I don't care. Hollywood Reporter. Oh, Robert Redford died this week. You younger guys probably don't remember too much of him, but he was the guy for a long time. He was like Handsome Man. And this is the movie. This is the movie. Butch and Sundance Kid. Very good movie. Written by William Goldman. Highly recommend. He'll always be remembered for this movie. Paul Newman, also a very handsome man. Very big star. Robert Redford didn't get... He was political, but you never saw interviews with him talking about politics all that much until later in his life, I would say. I mean, they put money into that, liberal causes, but Paul Newman had... what he did was he made brands of like salsa and salad dressing out of like organic material, and then he funneled the money back to charities. It was a pretty smart way to do it. Let's see. Anything else going on here? Harry Potter star says she was barred from fan convention due to OnlyFans page. Which Harry Potter star's on the OnlyFans? Oh, this chick. Jessie Cave. And there's a link. Is this to her OnlyFans account? All right. I can't click that because that could go very wrong for me. But let's see what Jessie Cave looks like now. Hopefully there's a bikini shot somewhere. She's on OnlyFans? I don't know. I will... Dare I punch in bikini? This might be... Here, I'll move it over here. I guess that might be it. Yeah, that's like an OnlyFans shot. I don't know, man. Alex Ogle. Okay. How about a mockumentary where Angelina Jolie, after making loads of money as a computer game character with big boobs, gets them cut off due to the risk of breast cancer? Oh no, you're kidding. Don the Second, laughing. Tony knows he wants to click it. I'm crying. Dude wants to see evidence. LeMay is here. Dumpy looking. Sorry. Yeah, you'd probably never hear me say this again, but that's kind of a waste of OnlyFans money right there. No offense. She's actually better looking here in this shot. Although she could be very young there, I don't know. But, I mean, like, her makeup's better. Still kind of got bags under her eyes. All right, moving on. Charlie Sheen calls Charlie Kirk's assassination this generation's JFK moment. Yeah, he did that on the Joe Rogan podcast. That may be very accurate. That is seemingly, but the thing is, the news cycle is so fast now; it just grinds through. Back in JFK's day, it went on forever. Seemingly. Down the second, dude, I don't know, woman, are skanks these days. Oh, you got retracted. Oh, are. That's not all women. They're not all. The ones on the internet, a lot of them are. That's for sure. Can Christie and the Housemaid turn the Sydney Sweeney movie slump around? Let's see. Christie, I don't think so. Playing a female boxer in a dramatic role. I don't know if Sydney Sweeney has the acting chops to make that jump over to Meryl Streep land. And the Housemaid, it could be good. I don't know. It didn't look like my kind of film. Don the Second, I'm being callous. Schwarzenegger honors Charlie Kirk as a family man and conservative advocate after shooting. Okay. Arnie trying to get back into the good graces of people after saying, screw your freedom. Kind of never going to live that one down, Arnold. Hate to say it. This is a funny headline. Yes, please. Left-wing meltdown over Jimmy Kimmel's suspension sparks Disney boycott. This was burning up the internet like yesterday, I guess, or the day before. I don't know. The weekend's a blur. So I guess it was Friday. The lefties are talking about boycott. First they marched in front of Disney, and then they said, oh, we're going to boycott you. Okay. Good luck with that. I mean, what audience will they have left if these people boycott Disney? Who's left to watch this stuff? Must be a bunch of people who never read these headlines going, oh, there's a something happened? I just spent all my time watching Disney. Don the Second, COVID era was completely effed. No one gives a F about Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah. All right, moving on to Deadline. Down a second. If I was Jimmy Kimmel fan in 2025, I'd Control-Alt-Delete myself. Andor writer Dan Gilroy on Disney suspending Jimmy Kimmel and Hollywood facing venomous evil. This isn't a skirmish, it's a siege. Huh? Okay. Whatever. He's probably going to be back on the air soon. Charlie Kirk's widow says she forgives his alleged assassin. Let's see. LeMay, at me. What do you think about the new indie plot pilot, Knights of Guinevere? I don't know. I didn't see it yet. Did I? Did I see that? I don't know. I have to check it out. Is it good? Marlon Wayans addresses negative hymn reviews. Art is to be interpreted, and it's subjective. Maybe, but no one's going to see this thing, dude. I don't know. Doesn't seem to be doing well. Amy Poehler slams the Academy devaluation of comedy. It's some hot BS. This was the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences snubbing of comedic performances. That's been going on forever. Don the Second, no one below the age of 45 gives two craps about Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, about television. I mean, nobody under the age of 45 watches TV, I think, anymore. Or very much of it. I got rid of my TV probably like 2018, 2017, 18. I never looked back. I do not care one whit. I thought I would miss it. I don't miss it at all. In fact, I'm glad I got rid of my television. You know, for years, I would hear these guys, they were often very snobbish. Usually liberal people would say, I don't own a TV. And I'd be like, whatever, dude. I like TV, so what's the big deal? Now I totally get it. I mean, I wouldn't act like that. I would just say, oh, I don't have TV anymore. I feel my life is so much better without it. LeMay. It was made by an angry ex-Disney employee. It looked great technically, but the story is just bitter. Huh. I'll have to check that out. Don the Second. I barely watch shows, man. Just doom scrolling X, video games, or YouTube videos. That's what I do. LeMay. Shrek was at least fun. Yes. All right. Here's more on A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey and the big flop, what it is. Foxcore in talks to join TikTok investment group. Everybody's going to own this damn platform. And I still won't be on it. Yeah, you think they're going to stop all the Chinese software on it? Yeah, I doubt it. These guys will probably be so hot to get their grubby mitts on TikTok that they'll probably leave half the software in it. They probably won't find half of it. One killed, two injured in stabbing outside a Fish concert. Whoa, even the hippies are killing each other. My God. That's crazy. Normally, these guys are total stoners. Oh, by the way, I have a story about that. Guy came to my table. He was so funny. If you were writing a character as a stoner in a movie, this guy would be too much of a stoner for the movie. He was in, I swear to you, he had a bandana on with marijuana plants and a t-shirt with something about weed. And he said he came to my table. He was like, "Oh, no way!" And I was like, "Oh, it's the Pineys." And I'm explaining. He goes, "Oh, that's so cool, man. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, no way, really?" And he talked that way the entire time. It was amazing. And then I think he bought a couple of books. And then after he left, me and my girlfriend were talking. We're like, "Was that guy not the best stoner you ever saw?" And she was like, "Yeah, like in a movie." I'm like, "Exactly. Like you would have totally cast him 100% in a movie. He'd have been too good. It'd been like, you gotta roll back the stoner a little bit. You're a little too much of a stoner." Don the Second. TV shows used to actually be interesting though. Breaking Bad and Old Family Guy was peak. Don the Second. Rastafarian. That's rad, dude. He was so funny. Yeah, I mean, Breaking Bad was really good. I really enjoyed Breaking Bad. Old Family Guy was pretty good. I enjoyed the first season of Family Guy before he started breaking the fourth wall so much. It was good. And then one of my favorite episodes before I stopped watching it was they did a like Back to the Future Part 2 episode kind of where Stewie and Brian go back in time to the first episode and they're running around in the background of the first episode. So their animation is like the newer animation, but they were walking around in the old animation, which was really cool. But by then, that show was really starting to jump the shark. Oh, this was a big story this week. On top of everything else that happened this week, a suspect in the ABC Sacramento affiliate station shooting arrested by FBI after release from jail. So a guy went to an ABC affiliate and shot the place up, apparently. And he was like an old boomer. It's crazy. And it has something to do with Jimmy Kimmel being canceled. I think he was mad about that. Don II, they actually tried being funny and creative back then. It's crazy. That was a good episode. Before Stewie turned into a fruit pop. Yeah, it was better when they just like hinted at it and it didn't happen. But that's what happens on a lot of shows. They kind of lose themselves in their own fame, and I think the fame ruins it. Don II, what the F? Boomers crashing out. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's nuts. All right, Cosmic Book news. Avengers Doomsday wraps expect massive reshoots. Yeah, no kidding. I don't know how they're going to even put this movie together. I just don't. They have 60 characters, 60 characters in this movie. How are you even going to make it make sense? And you have to explain why Robert Downey Jr., who's playing Doom, looks like Tony Stark, or not mention it at all. I don't know how you're going to do this movie while promoting Shang-Chi, Falcon as Captain America. I think there's rumors Chris Evans will come back. But they ought to just recast him if he doesn't want to do it. You can't have a Marvel movie like this without Captain America. You just can't have it. And they've effed up the Fantastic Four, so they were supposed to be a big part of it, but I think they rewrote that. Like, how can you even have this movie now? You've effed up the Marvel Universe so royally, Disney, in my opinion. The only people that got it right, Sony got Spider-Man right. You got to admit that. I don't know what's going to happen the next round of Spider-Man movies. I'm really worried they're going to start effing it up and start really turning up the juice. Like, oh, we got to make this even woker. But Spider-Man at least is good. But I don't know. Thunderbolts, why even put them in it? The Thunderbolts were the dumbest. God, anybody who had read comics in the last 10 years could have told you that. Anyone, literally anyone. You could have gone to one comic book convention. Yeah, we're thinking about doing Thunderbolts. And everybody went, no, don't do that. Don't do that. No. Wrong. They refuse to learn comics, in my opinion. Wrestling, don't care about that. Gina Carano is back. She's starring in a Batman-esque Las Vegas crime series called Logan Reign. That sounds too close to Logan's Run, I think. Doesn't it? You're going to call it Logan Reign. It sounds like Logan's Run. I know that's an old movie, but they're going to remake it soon, I think. But at least she got her career back, kind of. Now she's going to be a TV person. You know who I think she could play? And you probably wouldn't notice the difference. I bet if you swapped her out for Olivia in... I just saw it in this picture. If you swapped her out for Olivia in Law and Order SVU, I wonder if people would notice. Because she reminds me a lot of Olivia on Law and Order SVU. If she could do her voice, I bet people would be very confused. So Olivia looked different this week? What's going on? Or she could play her sister or something, right? That would be cool. But yeah, I guess. Henry Cavill had an injury on the Highlander movie. So you're going to have to wait for that reboot. I know. You're sitting around going, what other movies can Hollywood ruin? and they're rushing it out as fast as they can. Don't worry, they'll ruin it soon. Alex Ogle, cast Sydney Sweeney in Jenny Agutter's role in Logan's Run. I'd watch that. Is she naked in it? Let's see. Anything else here? They're touting this Street Fighter movie. I don't think Street Fighter is a big enough IP to even do as a movie. I mean, basically everybody thinks it's Mortal Kombat, right? But okay. I knew a bunch of guys who licensed the Street Fighter license or the franchise to do a role-playing game. It didn't do super well for them, I think. Daredevil Born Again, not canceled. Well, there's a bit of good news, I guess. What a way to start a headline. Daredevil Born Again, not canceled. For a change. Marvel greenlight Season 3. Okay, it's your funeral. Alex Ogle, she can be for the purpose of the rewrite. Jenny Agutter was in very close-fitting clothes. Oh, and she was hot. Don the Second, Street Fighter is effing cool to me, to be honest. I never saw the appeal. I would just go, is that more guys for Mortal Kombat? Oh, no, it's different guys. Oh, it's a different game. But Netflix did the meme again, everybody. Netflix cast Alexander Jihad Abdallah as Swedish King. We're doing a movie. Yes, a movie. Yes, he's a historical figure. He was the whitest man to ever live. Really? Don the Second. Nah, bro. Street Fighter. It's on League. Oh, okay. That means it's on a game, right? He's the whitest man to have ever lived. Well, obviously we need to cast a guy who's not white at all. And he's from Sweden, so everybody will know we didn't cast a white guy. I don't know what you're doing, Netflix. Are you just trying to piss people off? Oh, let's do this to Sweden. Yeah, they can't do anything. They're Sweden. We'll push them around. Okay. There's more on Demon Slayer. 7 best new movies streaming on HBO Max right now. Well, I have HBO Max, so I want to see. All right, first there's Superman. I already saw that. It's not so great. Ooh, Dog Day Afternoon. That movie is great. You should watch Dog Day Afternoon if you get a chance. That's good. That's a good movie. I should watch that again and review it. Evil Dead 2. That's pretty good. That started the whole thing off. Friendship, no bueno. I did my video about how to destroy comedy, and I think Friendship pretty much fits that role. I couldn't sit through it. I got 20 minutes in and I turned it off. I can count on the fingers of one hand how many movies I walked out of. Friendship is now on the list. I'll tell you what they are. Lethal Weapon 2. No, it's not Lethal Weapon 2. It's Loaded Weapon 2. National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon 2, starring Emilio Estevez and a young, not famous yet, Samuel Jackson. It's one of the worst. I couldn't sit through that. It was terrible. I walked out on it. Second Sight, starring Bronson Pinchot and John Larroquette. Brutally bad movie. Couldn't sit through it. It's terrible. Friendship is now added to that list. And is there one other? Yeah, there was a movie recently with that kid Egerton. I can't even remember the name. I don't know. I might have suffered through that. I was just bored with it. But this movie, it's an affront to comedy, I think. Just doesn't work. Oh, Goodfellas, that's a good movie. That's a great movie. Yeah, could always watch Goodfellas. Especially the food scenes where they're taking the razor blade to the garlic. See, the secret is you razor blade the garlic, and when you fry it, it liquefies. You put that on your pasta, you got something. Prometheus, oh God, every other movie is the worst movie. This movie's terrible. I wanted to walk out of Prometheus. I thought it would get better. Oh, this is a brutally stupid movie. Don the Second, it's funny image of Tony spending his hard-earned money on a movie and walking out like this is BS. You want to see what I really made? I almost made a scene. I kind of made a scene. I went to go see the Batman, and they were charging an extra $1, and I got so effing pissed. I'm like, what do you mean you're charging an extra $1? And I got into an old man argument with the clerk who clearly didn't know what was going on. He's like, yes, sir, we're charging an extra $1. I'm like, for what? I don't want to pay an extra $1. Why should I pay an extra $1? Don the Second, I got to do that with my pasta next time. SMH, I made some today. Oh yeah, you'll thank me. You'll thank Goodfellas. Watch the movie and then you can know how to do it. But Prometheus is, I hate this movie. I hate it so much. Not as much as Gravity, but pretty close. Alex Ogle, razor blade to the garlic, but you still need to cut the pineapple into chunks. Hey, you just stop it. Stop it right now. I'll turn this stream around, mister. 7? 7's all right. I like 7. I'm not in love with 7. There's Superman, and that's it. Yeah, Superman's okay, too. I mean, 7's a better movie. I would recommend 7. Superman, I guess I wouldn't really recommend it unless I was a comic book fan. It's watchable. Don the Second, I've seen Goodfellas on LSD, allegedly. In Minecraft. Don't do drugs, kids. That Park Place. Jimmy Kimmel and Disney stuck in stalemate discussion over possible return to ABC. Hold their feet to the fire, Jimmy, because I don't want to see you come back. You stand your wacky ground and lose more money. Photos, Disney's Grand Floridian, now a construction zone for guests paying $845 a night? What the hell is happening in Disney? It seems like everything there is under construction, being repaired, or being remodeled. I'm telling you, I think the Chinese are destroying Disney. Don the Second, what's in the effing box? What's in the box, man? What's in the... he doesn't say man. What's in the box? Epcot candlelight procession narrator list announced. No Neil Patrick Harris or Whoopi Goldberg. Damn it. Why even go to Disney World? Who cares? Is this a thing people care about? Sorry, I got stuff on my glasses. Oh, that's better. Disney files permit for affordable housing complex. Okay, so let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. You're poor. And you're poor enough that they have to send you to affordable housing. So one day, you get the letter. Oh, you got to go to this address. This is where you'll be living. Okay, I'm poor. I'll go there. And you go there, and you get to Disney World. And you're like, well, this can't be the right address. This says Disney World. Yep, it's over here. And then you're poor. And you're living in an apartment complex, I guess. And outside your window... It's a small world after all. It's a small, small world. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, and not for nothing, affordable housing places, don't they fall into crime because, well, poor people are in them and some of them turn to crime? Are you telling me, like, we're going to see a bad area of Disney World now? Like, okay, we can go to the Magic Kingdom, we can go to Hall of Presidents. Oh, but we can't go to the World of Tomorrow. That's a bad neighborhood. Yeah, you don't want to get on that ride. Yeah, no, a guy got on that ride Thursday and got robbed. And, yeah, we don't want to go over to It's a Small World. They're selling crack near the exit, and we don't want to be near there. So we'll just stick to the Hall of Presidents. What is happening at the Disney park? Alex Ogle, affordable must be the latest thing to be on the spectrum. I don't know, man. That, like, are they going to, like, tout this as some sort of like, affordable housing? It doesn't make any sense. And it's in Florida. Like, in New Jersey, they're forcing every county to build affordable housing, like a certain amount, because we have an insane governor. Our tyrant governor, Phil Murphy, thinks that a 150-year-old farm that's been in a family for 150 years should be torn down and a bunch of ugly apartments built. Like, we don't have enough poor people in New Jersey, because he's an idiot and because I think he's just making trouble for the next administration. But that's in Florida. It's crazy. Doesn't make any sense. All right. What was the other thing I wanted to hit? Oh, Breitbart. Now, we went over this. This was the Charlie Kirk thing. Went very well, apparently. Here's Rand Paul on the Kimmel suspension. Absolutely inappropriate for FCC to weigh in on Kimmel's suspension. He's right. Rand Paul is always right in a technical sense, but unfortunately there's so many laws that people just ignore because they're Congress or because they're presidents or whatever, and nobody holds them into account. See, what should happen is if a president breaks the law, the Congress on both sides say, oh, you're not going to do that or we'll impeach you. Or if a congressman breaks the law, there should be a judiciary and an executive that says, oh, you can't do that. Or, you know, it should just be the Department of Justice saying, oh, no, that's illegal. We're either going to arrest you or you're going to stop doing that. But unfortunately, that system is a little bit broken right now. Alex, New Jersey needs a Disney World. No, Mickey Mouse can go around shaking down guests for money. What? They already do that? What in the world do we live in?
Oh, listen, it would be a real shame if something would happen to your pizza parlor, Giuseppe.
And that's my Mickey Goodfellas. Schumer claims Trump won't negotiate, so he will own the shutdown. Good luck with that. So they're going to shut down the government, which nobody on the right cares about ever. And the libertarians definitely don't care about. In fact, we applaud the government shutdown because the government doesn't do anything when that happens. And that's usually a good thing. Fetterman, absolutely the wrong thing if Dems shut down the government. Fetterman's funny because it's like the guy had a stroke and he shouldn't, I don't think he should have ever been elected, but he got in anyway through various machinations. And now he's recovered from his stroke and he's, the most clear-minded member of the Democratic Party now. He says things that are absolutely sane all the time now. Once in a while, he still says something that I go, I don't agree with that, but then it's not insane. He's not touting communism. A lot of people say, oh, he'll leave the party. I don't think so. He's still pretty left, but I don't know why they don't listen to this guy. Murphy, we are quickly turning into a banana republic. Which Murphy is this? It's not my governor, is it? No, it's Chris Murphy of Connecticut. He's a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat, too, so. Girls' high school volleyball teams forfeit games against transgender player. Good for you, ladies. LeMay, the neurons regrew. Apparently they do. Maybe he's got some... They gave him some space-age thing. There's a theory going online that he was cloned and the real Fetterman's gone, and there's a clone Fetterman or a guy who took his place. You know, with plastic surgery. Alex Ogle, Fetterman was supposed to be bumbling imbecile, but he became based for the most part. Did he become so retarded that he can't keep up with the doublethink of the left? I don't know. I mean, if I found out there was another guy who got plastic surgery to look like Fetterman, and then they did away with Fetterman and he replaced him, that would make a certain amount of sense. Like, he's a completely different guy to me. PA Governor Shapiro, Trump is trying to stifle dissent. Well, he's usually pretty reasonable. That's not the hardest take in the world. He's a Dem governor. He would be a guy I could see switch to the Republicans. Josh Shapiro, especially after he got shafted by Kamala Harris. He should have been the VP. Maybe he didn't want it. All right, let's see on entertainment. And then I got to wrap this up because I got to hit the bathroom again. Disney Plus cancellation page crashes. Oh, sure, it crashed, everybody. Oh, you can't cancel your Disney Plus right now. We're having problems. Disney Plus cancellation pages crashes as users rush to boycott over Jimmy Kimmel Live suspension. What a freaking disaster! Ha ha!
Bob, you gotta do something! What the hell are you doing, Bob? Ha ha! You can't! People are canceling our subscription service! Ha ha!
Watch Sex and the City star Cynthia Nixon demands America boycott Disney parks, cruises, and Hulus. Have these people been awake the last 10 years? Do they not remember when people on the right banned Disney because of the grooming situation? And now they're... this is nuts. Rosie O'Donnell joins Dump Disney campaign. Gavin McInnes. Jimmy Kimmel was ruined by his insufferable wife. Second wife. There's pre-Molly, and then there's post-Molly Jimmy. Interesting. Alex Ogle, best Mickey Mouse ever. Now do your Donald Duck. I can't do Donald Duck. I definitely can't do it now because I'm flemming up from doing Mickey. Ha ha! The media is lying about what Jimmy Kimmel said, like they lied about I can never say this. Irina Zarutska's death. Oh, rock star Morrissey canceled the Boston show after a credible threat on his life. Morrissey's very based. Check out an interview with him once in a while. It's crazy that he's that based. He's from the UK and he's a rock star. Rob Reiner weighing in. Meathead, everybody, says we're in a war for our democracy. Trump has declared war. This is a guy who vowed he would leave X and never return, and then did, of course. Lost producer Damon Lindelof threatens to quit ABC Disney over Jimmy Kimmel's suspension, and I sincerely hope he does. For those of you who don't know, Damon Lindelof, I think, is the equivalent of the Antichrist of screenwriters. See, the patron saint of screenwriters was the late great William Goldman. He wrote The Princess Bride. He wrote Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. He was a really great screenwriter. Damon Lindelof wrote, let's see, I believe he wrote part of Cowboys versus Aliens. He worked on Lost. He's famous for Lost. I believe he reworked some of the bad James Bond movies, I think. I think he's just terrible. I think he's just the worst. He believes in the, what is it called? The secret box thing that they do. Alex Ogle. Fun story. I was in a Disney's California Adventure with a friend, and she was arguing about my shirt. I said it was salmon, a shade of red, and she said it was pink. She consulted a member of staff who agreed with me that it was red. Thank you, I said. I'll take her outside and slap her around a bit in a minute. You can't do that. This is the happiest place in the world. True story. True story, apparently. Let's see. Jason Bateman. We can't let Kimmel's show be pulled. This is about freedom of speech. It's not, because it would have required the government to limit his speech, and the government hasn't limited his speech. You can argue that Trump intimidated people or threatened people, but you don't have enough votes in Congress to do anything about it, and you don't have any credibility in that area. So good luck. And he can make a very credible argument. Oh, I didn't mean to threaten anybody. I was just saying, ABC should probably have their license pulled. Kristen Chenoweth fights back tears after sympathy for Charlie Kirk enrages her queer fans. Well, guess who's leaving the left side of politics soon? Yeah, this happens all the time. You mob up on one of these people, and you either break them, and now they no longer have a career, and they were on your side to begin with, or you force them to the other side, which is now happening at a record pace now. And finally, my ex-boss, Bill Maher. Kimmel was wrong, but he has the right to be. We're not like England. He's correct. He had some good takes this week as well. But, oh, here's Trump's eulogy. Trump and Charlie Kirk eulogy notes hypocrisy of Jimmy Kimmel outcry. Yeah, I mean, you probably shouldn't be saying that at Kirk's funeral. Again, he made it all about himself, but yeah. So that's what's been dominating the news all week. Charlie Kirk, Jimmy Kimmel, and the bad reaction of the leftist. What have we learned today, though? I got to wrap this up because I got to hit the bathroom again. Well, I learned that the Pine Barrens Makers Fest is the most awesome, one of the most awesome shows I've ever done. Alex Ogle, of course it's about freedom of speech, Tony. His ratings were failing and the bigots of the audience weren't supporting him against Trump. Kimmel's voice mustn't be silenced by people ignoring it. Yeah, exactly. We learned that Charlie Kirk had a very huge, and I'm sure we're going to be hearing about more of it tomorrow. He had a very huge send-off. Very huge. Estimates start at 100,000 to 300,000 people. And there were also vigils all over the country and all over the world. No one cares about Jimmy Kimmel too much. I think they only care about Jimmy Kimmel in the context of not letting Trump getting away with it. And they see it as a threat to themselves, a lot of them. I don't think they're really principled about free speech because none of these people supported Roseanne Barr when she got S-canned. Nobody supported her. I can't think of anybody who stood up for Roseanne Barr. And same thing with Gina Carano. She had to sue Disney. So, Alex Ogle, we learned that Amanda Seyfried would be much more enjoyable if she was in a bikini, being sprayed with water while keeping her stupid whiny mouth shut. Yes. Yes, we did. I want to thank all the chat tonight for coming out to the live stream. Sorry I sound a little incoherent, but I stood in the sun for 2 days and sold Piney books. It was a great day. I hope I didn't say anything stupid. I don't remember half of what I said. If I did, it was really Joan's fault, and I was just saying what she was whispering to me in the background. Next up for me, next week, I have events Saturday and Sunday, but I should be doing the live stream on time. Ooh, I'll also be on a Rutgers college TV show on Thursday. It's not going to be aired until later. I think it's taped, but I'm going to be doing an interview about the Jersey Devils, so that should be fun. And yeah, so the week looks good. I'm going to relax. I'm going to hit the bathroom. Thank you all for tuning in to the live stream tonight. We'll see you next week. And on the way, please smash like on your way out. Thank you, and have a pleasant tomorrow. Good night, everybody.